Even now, after all that's happened, it's still a mystery how the Martians kill with such terrifying speed and with almost complete silence. The current theory is this: they generate an immense and concentrated heat inside a chamber, so perfectly insulated that it lets no energy escape. That energy heat, beyond anything we can imagine, is then directed outward through a kind of polished parabolic mirror, not unlike a lighthouse beam. Instead of light, it projects death. No one has confirmed the exact mechanism, but the results are indisputable. The beam, if you can call it, that is invisible, and wherever it strikes, combustion follows in an instant. Wood erupts into fire, lead runs like liquid. Iron softens, sags, glass cracks and bubbles. Water doesn't boil it, vanishes in clouds of explosive steam. That night, beneath an eerily beautiful starlit sky, close to 40 human bodies lay twisted around the pit, burned, blackened, and beyond recognition. And from Horsell to Mayberry, the common lands were deserted and ablaze, flickering like a battlefield long after midnight. News of the horror traveled quickly, reaching Chobham, Woking, and Ottershaw almost simultaneously. But in Woking, most shops had already closed. It was early evening when it happened, and people had time on their hands. Curious townsfolk, shopkeepers, clerks, families drifted out onto the roads, following the rumors like a trail of breadcrumbs. You can picture them, tired but cleaned up after a long day's work. Boys and girls out for a walk, arm in arm, using the news of the Martian landing as an excuse for flirtation and fresh air. The mood was almost festive. You could hear it, the hum of idle conversation, the quiet laugh, the scuff of boots on the dirt path as they crossed Horsell Bridge toward the common. It was tension, yes, but not fear, not yet. Most of them didn't even know the cylinder had opened. Henderson had tried to warn them. He sent a messenger by bicycle to the post office to wire the papers, but it was too late. People were already drifting toward the danger, 2 or 3 at a time, joining knots of strangers gathering along the ridgeline, peering at the strange spinning disc that now rose from the sandpit like some alien instrument. They were drawn in not just by curiosity, but by the energy in the air. The crowd grew quickly. By 8:30 p.m., when the deputation met its end, there were well over 300 people on the common, not counting those who had pushed closer to the pit. 3 policemen were doing their best to maintain order, one of them on horseback, trying to hold the line and keep people from approaching the cylinder, but crowds rarely behave. Some whistled, some laughed. There were jeers from those who saw it all as theater. Some thought the Martians might be frightened, possibly beaved, possibly peaceful. No one expected what came next. Stent and Ogilvy, realizing that something might go wrong, had already telegraphed from Horsell to the nearest barracks. They asked for soldiers to be sent not to fight the Martians, but to protect them from the people. They assumed the danger was us, then they returned. They walked out to meet the Martians. They led the approach. They never came back. Those who witnessed it described 3 sudden bursts of greenish smoke, then a strange, low-frequency hum that seemed to resonate in the chest more than in the ears. And then flame. No one saw a barrel. No one saw a nozzle. Just fire. Clean, invisible fire. The crowd that day was lucky in a way I was not. A low, heathery mound of sand just happened to block the lower part of the beam. If the Martians had raised their mirror just a few feet higher, no one on that road would have lived. Still, they saw it. The flashes. The people falling. Then, as if guided by an unseen hand, the ray lit the dry bushes and raced toward the crowd. A whistle rose above the pit's mechanical droning as the beams swung over their heads, setting the tops of the trees alight. Bricks cracked, windows blew out. A nearby house caught fire, its wooden frames gone in seconds. One side of its roof collapsed, flaming, and the crowd. There was a moment, just a moment of hesitation. Then it broke. Sparks and flaming twigs rained down onto the road. Bits of burning leaves floated like embers from a bonfire. Hats and dresses ignited. Someone screamed, and then chaos. A woman shouted, "They're coming!" Just as a mounted officer galloped through the madness, his hands clasped over his head, screaming wordlessly. The crowd moved like animals, turning, shoving, pressing against one another to get away. They ran without direction, without plan. They pushed toward, woking like sheep fleeing a burning field. But the road narrowed. Between two high embankments, the crowd jammed, those at the back pushed, those at the front were trapped. A terrible crush formed, and not everyone escaped. At least 3 people died there, 2 women and a small boy, trampled in the dark, beneath the feet of the terrified. This was not a misunderstanding, not a mistake, not a warning. This was war, and we had only just witnessed its opening act. And if you're still with us, still alive in the glow of what you've just heard, make sure you give this episode a thumbs up. It's how we know you're listening and surviving. Subscribe to the channel so you're part of this resistance. And tap that notification bell so you're the first to hear when the next wave hits. Because in episode 7, we don't run. We fire back. Thunderchild is coming, and Earth makes its first stand. Stay sharp. Stay alert. The Martian War is far from over.